Friday, May 16th, 2025. This is our weekly Recoup check-in. I'm Sweets. This is Sid. Got the direction right this time. And we're going to be running through everything that we've shipped this week. The main question I always like to orient myself around is what are my goals for next week as the long-term takeaway. But to kick off the call, I like to start it with, in one sentence, Sid, in one word, how are you feeling today? And in one sentence, what do you need today?
In one word, I'm feeling happy. In one sentence, what do I need? I need to keep up this consistency. How about you?
Feeling today's been a sleepy day. Feeling sleepy.
Nice.
I need to remind myself everything that I've shipped this week so that I don't slip into feeling like I have not performed well this week. I need to like restate the things that have been shipped each day. Because I know I had some days where I shipped like 12, 14 cards, and today has just not been a big ship. And I'm starting to get in my head of doubt of like, what value am I adding? I need to remind myself of everything that's been shipped.
Well, let's do it. Let's start there then.
On your side, what have you seen me ship this week in the past 7 days? Not going any further back than the past 7 days. From your perspective, have you noticed any differences?
Yeah.
What are the differences you've noticed?
In the amount of shipments, or just what you shipped?
What? Yeah, not quantity, but quality. Go into the qualitative side of what has been shipped.
Okay, cool. Qualitative side is the tools to get real-time data from Twitter and Instagram. Super helpful. And that mixed with Verbal shipment of the tool call UI has made it much more excited to share prompts with people, to have them test out agents, quote unquote. It was basically what I'm calling starter prompts that like have tool triggers. So that alone has been huge, because now I'm thinking through what those starter prompts can be. And then that also the add artist workflow, incredible. So yeah, this week I think was a huge success when it comes to just how much you shipped, and what you shipped, to be able to like the tools that you shipped this week were really well thought out.
Thank you. What can you share any examples of any of your starters that you've been enjoying, or any point to kind of highlight some of the changes? Do you have any examples on your side that you've seen?
Oh yeah. Can you share my screen? Do you see my screen?
I could. Now I can, yes.
All right, so let's go here. Wait, motion. Wait, can you see my screen now?
I still see your screen, yes, sir.
Do you see this?
I see Restream, and now I see Prompt Library.
Okay, perfect, cool. So this is all right, so what I did was ask Recoup to list all of the tools it has access to. And then I said, write a list of 50 prompts that we could use these tools to call to help musicians get paid. And so it came up with these prompts. And so I've just been testing each one. And so you
go. I don't see your screen.
You do not see my screen.
No, I don't.
Let me share again, entire screen. Share.
No,
so Perfect. So I have a list of all these prompts. I'm still going through it. Fan growth opportunity map, release strategy optimizer, Instagram comment response strategy. Let's try that.
It just
Oh my
stopped.
God. Really? What's going on?
That was weird.
Is it better now?
I see it now. Yeah.
All right, so let's try this one. Instagram comment response strategy. So this one is review all the comments in recent Instagram posts. Help me develop a response strategy. What questions keep coming up? Which fans should we prioritize engaging with? Create a playbook we can follow to authentic and effective fan interactions. And then we're going to go to Recoup. I'm going to select an artist to run on this with. We're going to do new chat, and we're going to drop this prompt in. Boom.
I don't see it again.
God damn it. I don't know why I keep stopping, but here, I'll just keep sharing. Maybe if I share just the window.
Yeah. Change something up. There we go.
Can you see?
Yep.
Awesome.
Review all the comments on our recent Instagram. Cool. In this one, did you manually open it up? This has been an older artist, so you manually opened it up and connected the Instagram for this?
This is Alejo. Okay. We have his Instagram. I did an artist scrape for all of these.
Cool. So it gets the artist socials, and then it gets their Instagram profile, and then after that finishes, it then gets the comments. You remember what this experience used to look like?
Yes.
Now it's in chat format.
Now it's in chat format. It feels like an agent.
And like if it takes more than a couple queries to get the info, it'll be like, I'll check back in later. But in most cases, when it's trying to get your comments and your posts, it actually is pretty fast.
Yeah, and it's just dope because it just keeps me engaged. Like it makes me feel like it's whatever it's doing is smart. Like, and look, it even says like, I see we're having some issues scraping. Let's try another approach.
Yeah. You see it right there while we're waiting for the scraper to continue. And so it knows that there's a scraper. The comments should take longer. I would expect it to take longer for Alejo. And it looks like we never got the comments finished scraping. So maybe, well, but yeah, it's giving us outputs.
Exactly. So I guess like what I love about what we shipped this week is that like we can now run evals on all of these initial like queries, right? And like we can get as like this one has like what 1, 2, 3, 4 things that it's requesting, right? And so like we can really get crazy with evals now because we can see like if we break this into like
where these tools triggered.
Yeah, is it pulling the questions that keep coming up correctly? Yes or no? Is it telling us which fans we should prioritize with correctly? Like we can put a human in the loop on all of this and really see. But like boom, it's just literally it basically what I love about the new flow is that like it shows me exactly what it's doing, so it makes me confident in the output.
Yeah.
You know, and it, yeah, so it makes me feel like okay, it just did all that shit. Now this is dope. And like that was just one, like that was like literally one of let's do social media health check. Let's try another one. Let's do a different artist. Let's do Danny Ohm.
And we need to make it so that clicking on an artist auto redirects you to this homepage.
Yeah. But
let me write that down. Beer ball task. How's it looking?
Here we go.
And
so while
my artist social presence.
This runs, this is such a great one. I ran this a couple times. So I'm going to send, well, actually, let me show you where I'm thinking next week. I created this ticket that I wanted to give to Verbal, but I want you to run through it and make sure we're good. But the objective is to redesign the agents tab to one, only show functional tested agents, because I don't know if like the TikTok agent works. I don't know. You know, I'm saying like,
all of them that's not wrapped. I think the only one I'm expecting the only one people are using is 1 RPM using. I guess the question is which agent is 1 RPM using, and let's make sure to keep that.
I don't think they're using an agent. Like I use whenever I create an artist, or I'm sorry, rephrase it. Whenever I used to create an artist before your flow, I would, one of the manual processes is I would create by running the wrapped agent,
right?
But delete everything except Instagram. So I would only scrape the Instagram, so that every one of these, so like let's just do Danny Ohm. Like so, Danny Ohm at least has some fan segments to show,
right?
And then what our 1 RPM has been doing is clicking these fan segments.
That's how they start. They always go into segments and then they click a segment.
Exactly.
So they're getting value out of segments, or at least that's their current workflow.
Correct. It seems like when it seems like when they start working, like I don't know at what point of their workflow they're in, like, but it seems like if they're working on Danny Ohm and they need some information about his fans, they come here and they start in fan segments and generate a report. I don't know if the actually let me pull up here. I don't know if this is set up correctly to show me conversations within new artist creation segment. So like this doesn't show me what happens after they click
if they don't put in any messages, it doesn't show you the HTML report. It's only showing you.
I also don't know if it's showing me like I don't know. It could be that. Actually, let's just try it. Let me just verify that right now. What am I talking about? Let me do this. I just did Danny Ohm's social audit. Let me click where are we? I'm going to click positive vibe supporters. While that does that, let's see this. Okay, so it shows me that I clicked that. So at least we know if they're clicking on segments. But let's see. See, I don't think it shows me if they continue a conversation in this. So I'll just have to, I don't even know if it's set up. Yeah, it is. Okay. Let me just double check by going to this. Yeah. So it's, even if they do have a conversation, we can't see into it currently for segment chats.
Interesting.
Which is a good bug to know. So chats not showing convo in founder admin. So that's something that I'll have to fix on my end, so that we can see what's going on when they do click segments, if they're asking questions, etc., how they're getting responses. Okay, cool. Then let's go back to social audit. See how fire this is?
Got you a nice map, which you now have the download button on.
Yeah, dude.
I like how he did the design with the little overlay too. Like when you get off of it, you don't see anything, and then you have that little dark overlay that goes on the top to like draw your eye to something happen, and then that brings your eyes to the icon. He does little good design notes, Beerball.
Yeah, so I really like what you shipped this week, Sweets. I really like what you shipped this week, and I really like that like Veerball's there to like help the design and the little things after you ship it, right? Because like both of those two things together, like really like make the shipment feel finished, you know?
He has been amplifying my work, certainly.
Yeah. So, anyways, my thought is the next steps for next week is giving him this, which is like the agents tab redesign, where
Cool.
we basically take that 45 or at least like 20 of like the prompts
Yeah.
and we turn them into cards in this agents tab.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking about like, okay, how do we redesign this agents tab so that like it doesn't require me to design the background, it can be filtered, etc. Like,
Yeah.
and so I have Manus here, which is like a good example. Although I don't think we need like these images at the top in the
What are they
beginning.
called? You're calling them agents. Manus calls them apps.
Yeah,
You're thinking of continuing to call them agents?
I am. I think just keep calling them agents.
Is your reasoning that it's just like a buzzy word, or is there something to that?
Yeah, it's a buzzy word, and that's our whole value prop right now is AI agents for artists and record labels.
Copy.
And then the idea is like, okay, cool. Some of our agents will be like just like kind of prompt injections, but we can build out how like Lindy does a great thing where like it has, actually I'll show you Lindy because it's cool. This is a great one too, a great example.
Yeah, there's this community.
Yeah, there's this community, which is cool. Like, I mean, eventually that might be dope. It's like where we can have people submit prompts for themselves, that whatever. Lindy does something cool, which is I don't like the design, but what I do like is
They call them templates.
yeah, they call them templates, and the way that they have it is medical scribe, but when you click it, what? Oh, you add it. I don't know why they would do that. Oh, see, that was weird. Yeah, it's just their interface I'm not crazy about, but what I do like is that when certain ones I click, it gives you the option to like turn on autopilot and select like how often do you want this agent to run. So like for meeting note taker, like my Lindy's, let's see, like their whole thing is like through like this node design, which is cool, but like you can basically go in and say like when a message is received, like so this one starts when you get a message received, right? So you can like set it up in settings of like, I don't know, it just, again, this is long down the line, right? But eventually we can get to a place where, okay, cool, I want to run the social media audit agent every Friday and email me the results, you know? And so like it works as like a prompt, but it also can work as like an auto run if the user wants to. All right, I'm going down a long rambling path and I want to get back on track.
Let's wrap it back. Goal being, what are the top priorities for next week? You're currently focusing on Big Ass Kids for independent artists and Rostrum Records for enterprise customer. What do you need in order to progress those relationships on the tech side?
I need the items that we discussed with Big Ass Kids yesterday to be fixed. And that is it for now. I will know more about Rostrum once we green light. But I'm just waiting on them to hit me back.
You sent them a message. When was the last outreach?
I sent them a message yesterday. I got a response back saying that he's gonna He's gonna hit me up. He's looking over it.
Awesome. So we're just waiting.
So now we're just playing the negotiating dancing game.
Cool. Yeah, you just wait. Monday, likely get a response.
Exactly. If it's not today, it's Monday. I'll just ping him up on Monday. And so so right now it's really like until we get the green light on that, and when we do, then we can think about like, I mean, it's really getting the green light on that, and then like taking some time with Sam to like watch her current workflow, get everything we need to start scoping it out. But until then, we can just focus on Big Ass Kids Carolyn's deep research flow and artist onboarding flow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on your side. And then on the other side with Verbal, I was thinking about like the agent tab.
Right. So it seems like for now, we don't necessarily need YouTube and TikTok. It seems like with Instagram and Twitter, it's getting the current job done.
I mean, if we can add Instagram and if we can add YouTube and TikTok,
who's going to use it?
Everybody. Everybody's going to use it. If it's called, like, for example, on the social media analysis, like if it was able to use and pull that into the deep research, it would be a valuable ad. I know Steph on the 1RPM call specifically said, are you guys ever going to integrate YouTube? Because like her role is like YouTube director at 1RPM.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like she works a lot with YouTube. So I definitely think having YouTube.
If we want YouTube, it would be great to be like, hey, Steph, we know you're leading YouTube at 1RPM. How can we're thinking about building our YouTube integration. We're thinking of being able to search for videos by humans, this and this.
Just get her workflow.
Like what is your work? How can we actually build this for you so that I don't ship it? And then she's like, well, this doesn't actually. Now it would be great if it did this that I actually do in my workflow. It would be great to cut out that iteration step and start with like, we're thinking about doing YouTube. How can we build this for you so that it's working for you? Because we're building it for you. You were the name that came to mind. In the same way that Privy was just like, hey, you're like the top dev that's building projects. That makes me feel special and makes me want to use Privy more. And then when they come out with new stuff, they tell me, and it makes me want to do it. Including her in this part feels like a good step, because otherwise I don't know that I'm going to build YouTube right now.
I agree 1,000% with what you're saying. If we can get her on a call to walk through her workflow and how she uses YouTube and what she's doing, and then you can take that and integrate it. I'm 100% game, because the way that you did TikTok, I'm sorry, the way that you did Twitter was perfect because you did it for you.
Yeah, like, I needed it for me.
Yeah.
And I could still be building it out for Coinbase, but like Coinbase, Lincoln replied to me back and he said, thank you. This is great. So he didn't ask for any more details. So I've delivered him info. He liked the AI report info that I gave him on the content analysis. So it served its purpose. And so now I don't have that fire into me of like, I'm going to also get the Instagram list or the TikTok list and the YouTube list, because he's already happy with the info. Maybe next month. And then he told me to go and reach out to Dan Kim about invoicing. And so I'm kind of just, it seems like Lincoln is the prompt guy to tell me and assess my performance. And then Dan is the money guy to pay the invoice. So the next question is just, I've already sent a message to Dan and I was like, hey, Lincoln told me to come back to you for invoice. So I'm going to write up an invoice for May and I'll send it over and then just get that paid and just kind of like keep moving forward. Like Coinbase is going.
I like it. And I also, don't mind the idea of you just, automate what you can on your workflow here, bro. If you're like, man, now I got to go write an invoice, and that like, all right, cool. Maybe an agent can write you an invoice and send it to Dan. Like,
yeah, where I'm thinking the two things I would love to be building. One, the past 2 days I've been trying to focus on improving the Farcaster login. A lot of people have been wanting to use the app on Farcaster a lot. Some of my close friends have been wanting to use the app on Farcaster, and they keep telling me it's not working. I can't get past the create artist flow. And I feel like they're hitting on stuff like, how many people get blocked, brand new users get blocked when they just create an account and then they land on the page and we force open select an artist, they don't have any artists, and they try to create a conversation, but the conversation has to be linked to an artist that they don't have. How many people are getting stopped from random people trying to sign up on the internet and getting the Farcaster login? The bugs that I'm already aware of on Farcaster fixed feels to me like there's brand new people that want to be using it. Farcaster is an easy way for people to be doing it. So removing the email pop-up when people come in on Farcaster and use the account that we already know from Farcaster to set up an account. I also wanted to build a starter repo for chat for Recoup. Our Recoup chat repo is a monolith and it depends on other services like databases and API keys. I would love to have a little starter repo that only takes an LLM key or maybe even doesn't take an LLM key. And the goal of it being a small starter repo that uses Recoup tools. That way, whenever Privy reaches out and says, hey, can you test this new feature? Or Coinbase says, hey, can you build out X402? I can clone a chat repo, try to plug in a new feature, and it can be lightweight and something that is easy for other people to build on. And then if the tools work, it's me building on top of Recoup and encouraging other devs of like, here's a starter repo if you want to build on top of Recoup. You don't need a Perplexity API key. It uses us. You don't need to go and verify your organization inside of ChatGPT to generate images. You're hitting our generate image. You're not having to go and rebuild and get Apify and spend all those Apify permissions. You're using our APIs for that. So like this is vague and I don't know if it's going to get prioritized, but a starter repo is something I've wanted to build. And I think focusing on Carolyn's feedback, absolutely top. And then Farcaster cleaning it up so that the focus for me of Farcaster is brand new user onboarding, not white glove. I mean, maybe organic new user onboarding.
Here, this is just to amplify what you're talking about. Can you see my thing? Is it backwards?
No, it's not backwards. Yo, I'm trying to use Recoup, signed up for a free trial and it won't let me add an artist, stuck on the page. That is the exact feedback I'm seeing from people saying,
yeah,
I try to add an artist and I get stuck.
This is Instagram.
So it's even outside of Farcaster that it happens. So I'm focusing on the Farcaster aspect, but really like brand new user onboarding. I want to just spin up new accounts and try what it's like, because I think that is happening a lot and we could be having new conversations starting. And I think there's a wall of people that are now seeing the videos I'm putting and they want to jump in and start doing this stuff, the videos that you're posting. And when they try, everybody I think is getting hit at that wall. And so I want to remove that blocker so we can start to see organic new conversations flow in. So far I'm hearing my top priorities for next week are improve the Carolyn flow, focus on her while you're focusing on the sale, and also new user onboarding / Farcaster for the people that are trying to get in and currently can't get past the walls. Are there higher priorities that would be more effective at getting Recoup where it's trying to go that we should prioritize higher than those two pieces of work? What other things could be higher priority or more impactful at getting Recoup where we want it to be?
So I have one more thing on my list other than the agent. Oh no, I have two more things on my list other than the agent tab that I think will greatly, or I'm hypothesizing will greatly increase the amount of engagement. Or what's our monthly our retention?
Yeah, retention of existing chats.
Yeah, the first one is the auto email, weekly insights email. Right now, I'm manually sending everybody an email when there's a new feature, linking to a chat. When there's just trying to get them back, I'll send them an email. And so it's like a manual process, and I'll do it like once a week, maybe. And there's no like way for me to track. I mean, I'm just it's a manual process that I'm not tracking and optimizing for.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality would be if it was automatic, so I didn't have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I could track open rate, and if it's actually working, and I could use it in a way that, and if it was smart enough to like send each user what they care about. So for example, Steph's last conversation was with Danny Ohm. So she's probably thinking about Danny Ohm more than her other artists. So it was smart enough to say her last conversation was with Danny Ohm. Let me go pull some insights from his knowledge base or online. Let me go start a conversation. Let me write her an email saying, hey, I just found these cool insights. Here's a conversation to jump into, and just have that weekly, daily, I don't know, like whatever the flow becomes. But like, I think that's one way of getting people to continue to sleep back using the app.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is prompt suggestions. We removed them when we moved to AI SDK. And I think that most people were using them when they were there.
When they worked.
When they were there and when they worked well, you know? And so rethinking, should we reintroduce those prompt suggestions? And if so, how do we make sure that the only time that we're suggesting prompts is when we know that they will work? And those are the two other things besides the agent, like making the agent tab more functional. I just think what I'm realizing is like people with such an open canvas, people don't know where to start. And unless you use ChatGPT every day and AI every day, and you're thinking about prompting, like people are just like, what do I type in here? Right. I don't know. Like, what can this thing do for me? And so however we make it easier, like here, type this, try this, do this, like here, you know, like getting them using it more with us, like hand holding them, the better.
Yep, agree, 100%. Caroline feedback, top Q2 goal is increase the retention of chatters, which means number of first-time chatters, as well as number of new chats from existing humans. Ways that we can do that, Caroline explicitly requested a list of feedback. She has used the chat. When was the last time she used the chat, or anybody on her team? Do we know? Did she use it this week, or did she just get on the call with us, but she's not actually using the product?
She's not actually, well, no, she used the product at first to start, and she sent us the incredible email. I got on with her, and she said the reason why I'm not using it is because I don't know if I can start a new artist. I don't know if I can create a new artist. And so she
demoed, and now she saw that it works.
It works, but again, like, so like, I think she will use it when she feels comfortable creating a new artist. And so whatever we need to do to like okay, cool. Like, it's now a part of your every time you have a meeting with a new artist, it's a part of your ritual workflow. And I think she will use it every single time.
She did use it in our call, so that counts. The question is she going to use it next week? So she used it to get her coming back. We will fix the list, and then you'll send her an update. How are you going to? You'll send her that update via email?
Yeah, I'll send her an update via email. And
so I agree. I agree. It would be great to start including an email agent so that you can just go directly to Recoup and be like, hey, can you send Carolyn an email and let her know we just shipped her list of feedback features for her? Great, I'll write up that email for you. It writes up the email, it sends it straight into her inbox. If she replies to the email, Recoup can like reply and talk to her. I think email agent is a great piece in your loop. Thinking of it as like a generalized tool. In your loop of all the updates you need to send out, instead of you going to your email inbox, you go to Recoup and you talk with the agent, and whenever you're ready, it sends it out from Recoup instead of from your email. And on my side, I've liked the idea of the agent as the interface. And so far, we are still entirely dedicated to web-based in Mini-App and Farcaster as the distribution points. And so adding in an email agent leans into that of, okay, now you don't even need to come to our website. You can chat directly in the email. So 1RPM and all these teams that probably have email open all day, we get right in there with distribution. If they get an email from us, they can send it. We can come up with logic of when to send them emails, different people emails, and focus on it as like an agent layer.
I like how you're thinking through it, because I was thinking more on like the specific workflow. You're thinking of it like, okay, but like how do we set it up as email first and then figure out, okay, cool, but it can also do what I'm saying.
The narrow task, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I like it. I agree.
So email, out of the list of ideas that have not been prioritized, my starter repo for a chat, email agent, and prompt suggestions, I agree are important things. Cleanup side, when we scrape Twitter, those do get saved into our database. When we scrape Instagram, those are not being saved to the database right now. So I do need to clean that up.
Is that something you can give to Verbal? Or is database stuff we're not there yet?
It's a great question. We could potentially give it to Veerball. It's going to require, it's a creative solution because the two options I'm thinking of, we could either include it in the tool call of checking the status. There's, the check status that'll sometimes be like, oh, it's still not done or it is finished, and it's checking the status of that scraper.
Yeah.
So there's one side we could throw it in there so that when it finishes, okay, we got the results. We'll save those posts into Supabase. The other option is go into the webhooks so that Apify notifies us the second it finishes. We get a webhook, and that webhook goes to our API, and our API handles the registration one time from the webhook. And it's always, I'm thinking the webhook because on the client side, if it doesn't finish, like I don't know if you checked back up on the comments finishing. And so those comments that you just scraped, we paid for. But if you don't get that, if you don't wait for the answer, check on the answer, it might never actually get included. But the webhook, if you kick off that scraper, it's going to send us a webhook when it finishes, instantly when it finishes, and then we can get that data. And then when I start talking down that flow, I then think, well, we also have the option of the API guy, that scraper Web3 guy, not Web3. I don't think he's anything to do with Web3, but the scraper web guy who just reached out to me, and he's in my DMs now, and he's talking to me, and he's got APIs for YouTube and everything else. And part of me is wondering if we should use that because we don't have to do any scraping with him. He's offering it. He's willing to be our guy, and we can have a more direct relationship with him, help him improve his product. He's already given me some free credits. He's affordable. So 3 options. 1, build it in on the front end. I don't think that's an option we want to consider. 2, build in the webhook for the APIs. Or 3, start trying out this new API guy and start potentially thinking about sunsetting scraping. And instead of even having to check for responses or do webhooks, we have a new source of information, which is this API scraper guy, and we use his instant APIs. Out of that, do you have any preference on one of those 3 in terms of a solution path? We could throw this raw task to Veerball, but I don't know if you would think through those 3 options that I was just thinking through.
No, I don't think we should throw it to Veerball. I would rather him work on the agent tab because there's less stakes involved and it's more front end. How does he think through designing a front end for a user? So I'd rather throw him that, and then any other little things that you want to throw him. But we still are giving him a larger task, a larger ticket, and seeing. But yeah, definitely maybe infrastructure. Let's stay with you. I'm leaning towards the guy just because it sounds like he would help mitigate some of the work that we would have to do if he's building something that he wants to make his product better, and we ask for a feature, But again, if that's more work than to sunset or maybe we just try it with one of his APIs, the one you need, and if it's dope and it's yes, this is 10 times better than Apify, then we sunset. So I'm kind of leaning towards trying him and seeing what happens.
So we could try him with TikTok instead of trying to use the TikTok stuff we built, the agents with Apify. Keep Instagram how it is. Try TikTok out with the scraper. And then have you try both. Give me all my TikTok posts, give me all my Instagram posts, and you tell me which experience feels better, like a more top tier human experience for musicians. And if we end up feeling like Apify is better, we'll stick with them. If we feel like the TikTok is working great with the scraper APIs, let's keep expanding to then use YouTube with his scraper APIs. And then eventually when you start to be all right, the Instagram is noticeably worse than the other APIs, then we go back and update Instagram to get off of it. Piece by piece.
All right. Yeah, I like it. So I'm going to contact. Do you want me to contact Steph to set up a meeting for the workflow, or do you want to contact Steph?
I would prefer if you have enough rapport with her to be able to. I love when you throw the meetings in my calendar. If you need me to, I can.
No, I can hit her up. I'm good. I'll hit her up. I'll try her a couple of times. If she doesn't respond, I'll ping you.
Then throw it to me. Cool.
Contact Steph for the YouTube workflow. You're gonna hit up Scrape Guy for TikTok.
Yep.
Then we'll do Instagram webhooks for now.
Instagram webhooks for now.
I thought that's what you said.
Yeah, it is a piece of cleanup work that needs to get done. So you're right. That will take priority over TikTok.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then something for us to start thinking through architecturally is how are we bundling some of these together? because I'm finding that formatting of the tools, some of the more interesting tools that it feels like we're using right now are the ones where we're chaining things together. Create Artist has a tool loop defined, and Deep Research has a tool loop defined. So if you ever give a prompt that is like create an artist or do deep research, those two will trigger a bunch of other events within it, chaining together all those tools. And I'm going to be updating Deep Research to likely take some things that I had defined inside of. I'm thinking about how to bundle some of these small things together, because right now in deep research, you mind if I give a concrete example?
Please, I want to see the deep research into architecture.
All right, so if you're watching this video and you're curious how we've been doing our deep research, that's what I'm about to show. Let me get my code base open, and we've got a artist deep research tool, and here is the definition of that tool. Don't save anything. Okay. I've got all the steps defined up here of how I've got it defined right now. Starting with the bio, it conducts comprehensive research on an artist across multiple platforms and generates a detailed report. It follows this tool loop defined, and then it joins the steps together. Research requirements, I copied these from Carolyn. Spotify, we need listener numbers, fan locations, release frequency, top songs, playlist features, and collaborators. Socials, we need follower count, engagement rates, top content branding, posting consistency. Website, we need their branding, layout, contact info, mailing list. YouTube, we need their consistency, yada, yada. Marketing, we need campaign ideas, revenue streams, collaborator opportunities, and brand partnerships. Do not stop after your initial research. Continue with looping over to these steps until all the required info has been gathered. The only thing we need is the artist account ID, which is provided in the context that we know what the artist is. After that, I give it some initial info because I had to give it something. I couldn't make it entirely empty. And then I reply back with the data of the artist socials. I thought what was a good seed of data that I could give it to inspire. And if it has access to all the socials that are connected with the artist, that's a great jumping off point to know what other details does it need, et cetera. And so this is the research loop. Get the socials, which is actually something that I'm already providing right here, is that social info. And so usually it skips this. Perplexity ask, search for any of the missing socials based off the social info you have. Update the artist socials. So based off of those new social infos that you have, update the artist profile to link those profiles so that in the future, it always knows what the profiles are. Search for Spotify and get everything you can on the artist across tracks, albums, and playlists. So you'll see 3 rows, one with tracks from the artist, one with albums, and one with playlists. Then it goes into Perplexity ask again, loop over this tool until you have all of the information required below, all of this. And then generate text file of the deep research, and then update account info to take that text file and associate it. Before I go into where my head's at, any questions or comments so far?
No.
I'm thinking that the chopping of this up is a place where the architecture could be important and could determine whether we have a couple of good tools, really good tools that are used in a lot of contexts, or if we have a million tools that are more or less the same with slight naming differences for the specific context that they're in. I think potentially we could remove generate text and update the account info as like update knowledge base. Because that's what this is doing, is we generate a text file, upload that text file into Arweave, and then we associate it. And so we could remove these two things and make this a generate knowledge base tool. And then inside of here, we just say generate knowledge base, and then generate knowledge base gets called, which is going to include those 2 loops. We lose the specificity of explicitly saying we're defining these, but we gain the composability of a standalone tool, which can be used in this tool, as well as in the Create Artist tool, as well as in other contexts. Another example is right now we're like these first 3 could be disconnected from deep research and called get missing socials. And so if you just say like fill in whatever the missing socials are for this artist, it runs these 3 loops. What socials do I already have? Use Perplexity to search the web for any socials that I'm missing, and then update the socials linked with the artist with whatever I got back from the search. Disconnect it from deep research, and then inside of deep research, the first tool it calls is get missing socials. And so now the deep research has now been broken down to get missing socials, iterate over some sort of research loop, shallow research loop, And then at the end, update the knowledge base. And so then I think this middle part gets broken up into like research loop. And the research loop is one simple tool. But like how I chop this up, how we chop up these tools and what gets chained in these tool loops, I think is going to, it feels like a point of creativity to me in hearing you talk. Like, I want to build out this agents page with like these recipes. It feels like you and I are both going towards this problem, and I'm expressing how I'm writing it here on the back end to hopefully better inform your creation of the agents, so that we can both be moving towards a place that continues to position how we're building these tools to put more wind at our back so that we can ship quickly, instead of having a million things that we need to maintain and they're all more or less the same, but it takes way more time to make the updates that we want to make to see impact in the end musician experience.
Yeah, no, I love this. Hold on, let me see that. The first thing I thought of is the concept of just like atomic design is what we're like talking about, and like where these functions fall in the atomic design principle, right? What is an atom versus what is the larger version versus, so like what is a task versus a tool versus an action versus a, you know, however we just decide to define them, versus an agent versus, you know. But I think, yeah, having some clearer definitions about, I don't necessarily need working definitions, you know, how are we defining them currently versus how
Right.
we maybe see them later, and then work towards it and change it as we do. But I agree. I think that like also having this down will make it very easy to onboard other devs and like give Verbal like very clear directions of here's how we want to build things, and here's the definition of what a task is with inside of an agent and what a tool call it. So like, okay, cool. If you're going to build an agent and we don't have a tool that connects email, like, you know, versus, but yeah, I agree with you. I agree with everything you're saying. Like, where does each function fall in and connection fall in?
Here's the other one, just to show the other tool loop example. Here's our other tool loop example. We call create new artist, creates the new artist. That work happens in the same execute function. Get Spotify search, update account info with the Spotify artist that we matched with the PFP, update the socials to link that Spotify account, and then it executes artist deep research, which artist deep research, like you were saying in atomic, I like that you said atomic design, because like I was able to then plug in one single tool here, and then that opens up a whole other loop that it runs down, but it does, but create artist tool doesn't need to know about that. It
Yes,
just, it's abstracted, right?
And so just thinking through how we abstract our agents and how everything kind of falls in. I like it. I really like what you're, yeah, I agree with what you're going.
One change that I made this week that I just want to highlight before I stop sharing is the chaining and how far we go. Before yesterday, I believe the maximum tool calls that it could iterate over were 11. And I just started to get to the point where I would see it stop randomly after a tool call without finishing, and I'd have to say continue. And then I tried changing this and I found that it would just go way longer. And so now I've increased it to 111. So I think that's long enough. But if you ever get to a point, Sid, where it's run for like an hour and then it just stops mid tool call, let me know and we can increase this number.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, we got Soham Swant saying, are we building an on-chain AI agent?
On YouTube.
Let's go.
He's our only viewer on YouTube, and he's leaving comments.
Engagement rate is 100%.
Thank you, Soham. We love having you here. How would you reply to that question, Sid? If an investor was asking you that, or if a customer was asking you that at a label, if Rostrum Records asks, are we building an on-chain AI agent? How are you replying to them?
If they ask it, then yeah, we are.
Simple answer, Soham. It's that easy.
Oh yeah. I have a couple more questions. I know we're running into the end, so I want to just touch base on these couple questions. Number one, for Cell AI SDK 5, are we migrating this week?
They have said very clearly not ready for production use. This is a great reason for us to have our starter repo, so that I could take our starter repo that's a little prototype and then add in Vercel v5 and see how it works and start playing with it. But because we don't have a starter repo, I'll probably try to see how I can play around with Verself V5. I was just thinking about that a little while ago. I want to play with that as soon as possible to start getting my mind thinking in their new mental models for how chat's going to work. Cause I think it's not going to be an update many people will talk about, but it's going to be an important mental model shift. It feels like one of the moments where we went from using Ethers.js and, what was the other one? Ethers.js and some other old framework for interacting with Ethereum libraries to then using VM and WAGMI, because the tools that were building those other ones just realized there was a better way to build it. And seeing them roll it out is like, it feels like one of those moments. They're redefining how they're thinking about it. It's going into simpler terms. They're no longer breaking apart certain things and everything's getting into new designs. So I want to start thinking about it as soon as possible. But no, I don't think it's time for us to migrate our production app. It is time for our devs to start playing around with the tool, but not time to migrate prod.
Okay, cool. The other thing that I had a question about is, I don't know if you saw my Slack question.
Let me pull up Slack.
Pull up Slack.
Our DMs?
Yeah. No, not DMs, but like, yeah, I guess our DMs. Around
With
the
or just me and you?
Me and you, music has been swapped for the new album and shipped on T Grizzly.
Select your T Grizzly artist profile and ask questions like, how many plays has the video game campaign generated? How many emails were captured from the video game campaign? Those are great questions.
So the current status is Lolly doesn't have an account. So her T Grizzly artist is not set up. I know at one point we scraped a bunch of T Grizzly. I don't know which T Grizzly in our has all of them.
Right.
But an ideal scenario would be I can manually set up her account with the right T Grizzly, with as all of the comments and everything scraped and everything, and then send it to her, and she can also ask questions about the campaign. But this goes also back to like a broader question of like, I guess I don't want to overthink this, but like, like if she, like, depending on what, I want to make this the lightest path forward because she only has one game, but then the idea of like, if she ever has two, thinking through like, if she says, how is the game performing? And she has two games, how does the chat know which one, etc. Like, so thinking through that queries, but also delivering her like something. Keep launching next week on Monday. So it doesn't have to be today. And I don't think we need to deliver her the login on Monday. Like we have some time to like say, cool, like here's the results after like here's the first week results. If you want to find them, you go here.
You already answered the question I was going to ask. What queries do we want to be making about this campaign? How many plays has the video game campaign generated? How many emails were captured from the video game campaign, and any other campaign specific metrics? The first two are very specific. I can use those. Any other campaign specific metrics? I think what I'll probably do is build out those first two tools. And then after I'll tell you about them, you'll test them, and then you'll probably have three more things that you want it to do. And so for now, I'll start with those two. And if you have any more clear definitions, let me know. But I'll start with number of video game plays. I'm glad Roos sleeps so well. It's always nice to just hear his little snoring and just be like, life's not so bad.
He is knocked out.
And then how many number of video game emails? So we want number of plays from a video game and number of emails from a video game, right? Yeah,
actually, if you want the exact queries, it follow what was the admin dashboard that we showed them for all other games. It was how many Spotify followers did we get from the game? How many people landed on the game versus how many people played? I think there was like five metrics that we tracked.
Yeah, what was the website? Was it
Go to La Tyler at dashboard, La Tyler.
reallittletyler.com/dashboard maybe.
Yeah, try that.
I think we have to add a play.reallittletyler. I think it was on a subdomain. Yeah, let me try play.reallittletyler.com. Not dashboard.
La Tyler. Wait, share your screen. You see?
Is the play domain correct? It's got to be play because play looks like it's hosted on localhost, or it's hosted on Vercel. This page could not be found, but dashboard is not it. Here's the game.
Okay, you got it.
But what was the dashboard URL? Data?
No, I think it was.
Did we decide to take it down?
Maybe we did.
How can I find that info?
Vercel, I can look in Vercel.
I don't know if you would be able to see that in Vercel. Maybe GitHub for Recoupable. If it's in Recoupable, is that app even in Recoupable? It's probably in SyncStream. Does SyncStream still exist? I don't see SyncStream. I'm going to start with your queries. I'm having trouble finding.
Yeah. Start with your queries.
So if you find it, let me know.
Yeah. That's all. What are you thinking through? Like just making it a tool that calls stack?
If we can figure out where that code is, I can just copy that. That's going to make my job way easier if we can figure out whatever page that was, because then I'll just take whatever is running to present that info, make that a single tool call for any video game related question, and then just get video game info. It pulls all that info in one query, and then whatever they asked for, it can present that info.
Okay, wait, give me a sec. I think I have.
So if we can figure out wherever that code is, that's going to make the job way easier. And I could pull it in, like if I haven't made much progress today on the other stuff. So if we can find the code, that can be a quick tool for me to throw in like right now, right after this call, before we even go live. That way you and I can be testing it. Where would it have been? Would that code?
It's definitely in the SyncStream. Oh, it's in Defiant. What am I talking about?
Defiant was the thing. Defiant. There we are. Defiant. Let me go into that.
Wait, share your screen so I can follow along.
Let's see if I can find it. Defiant repositories. Lil Tyler 3D. I wonder if it was even Lil Tyler 3D, or if maybe we didn't include it in this one. Pages. API and leaderboard. So it looks like we did leaderboard for 3D, but that's probably why we don't see it, because it's probably only in.
Well, what about BOA? Did we have one for BOA?
We likely had it for BOA, and we likely had it for this mini game, Lil Tyler, at /dashboard. Not there. Let me check one more in here, and then I'll go over to BOA like you said. Dashboard is a domain. So we probably just have the wrong account connected. So let me go back and do what you said and check BOA, because that's going to be the latest dashboard we would have built. Maybe it's in BOA v2. I think it's in BOA v2. I think BOA v2 is what we actually shipped, if I remember correctly. Pages. We do not. Maybe we didn't ship BOA v2.
No, we did ship BOA v2, but we might have not had added a dashboard for it.
But I thought, okay, let me check BOA. Pages. Did we never add a dashboard?
I guess not.
So the only place we ever added a dashboard was for Lil Tyler. And the challenge with Lil Tyler is this domain is incorrect because I likely overwrote it. So we need to go to Vercel /Defiant, if that's a thing. Defiant Co, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's Co.
No, SyncStream.
Oh, there it is, Defiant Team.
Oh, is it? Did I miss it?
Oh, I got to set.
Defiant team, and then we should have where's that original Will Tyler game? T Grizzly login creators minigame, not minigame Will Tyler.
Maybe it was moved to
Maybe it got moved to where? To
sync stream.
maybe it got moved to sync stream. Let's check in sync stream.
No.
I'm not seeing it here. Let's check Recoup. Found a dashboard. Nope. So it's not connected anywhere? Okay, we have at least found that there's a page. So I can start with this. It's inside of minigame Lil Tyler. Minigame Lil Tyler. So you might just see a quick pull request up if I'm able to get stuff out of here right after this live stream. No promises. Right. We'll see. My top priority for next week. Our quarter two goal is to increase the retention of people coming back to chat, number of first-time chats and number of new chats. We have not been clearly tracking that quantifiably, but the vibes are feeling good. Next week, my top priorities are Carolyn feedback, Farcaster posts for organic new human onboarding, Instagram API webhook to save posts that we're scraping from Instagram, TikTok from the new scraper, and minigame Lil Tyler. Hopefully I get that out now. On your side, wrapping up, what are your priorities for next week?
My priority is to contact Steph for the YouTube workflow. My priorities is to give Verbal that ticket for the agent tab. I'm going to send you the ticket first so you can look through it and make sure it looks good. And then my priorities is to manually continue to send the emails to everybody to get them to click into chats and lock in this fucking deal. And that's my main priority, is locking in the deal.
Yeah, rostrum deal should have been said first.
Yeah. That's number one. Yeah, and rostrum deal, and then rostrum deal, big ass kids, and then towards the end of the week, getting Lolly to jump on and start using, because I think that's a good next step for them.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you stuck around this long, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe so that way you always get notified every time we go live. Other than that, have a great week.